back at the Cowboys Leagues Club for on the field for another derby, Broncos Cowboys this time. Shaping up to be a big game, hopefully for the Cowboys.
A lot of star inclusions.
A lot of stars coming back. Jace is making a return as well as Nanai after being dropped for only 1 week. We do have Clifford coming in at halfback again as well. He did have a solid run toward the end of last season, so we'll see how he goes. For this one. Hopefully he can continue that form. We haven't had a great start to the year. As always, it's rough having a derby from the get-go, from round 3, but we'll hope the boys on. We'll will them on and hope all the best for them. We'll have a quick look at the team lists, both sides, as kickoff's only about 10 minutes away, so it'll be a quick one this time round. Fullback for the Broncos, Reece Walsh. On the wings, we've got Selwyn Cobbo and Jesse Arthurs. Their centres, Dean Mara, Gamat Shibasaki. 5'8", Ben Hunt, Adam Reynolds at halfback. Carrigan at prop, Corey Pakes at hooker. Payne Haas is at prop as well. Jack Gajewski, Jordan Ricky, and Kobe Hetherington round out the forward pack there. It's pretty much a unchanged starting side from last week anyway, even though they did lose to the Roosters. It's pretty well the same side. Interchange being Billy Walters again, Corey Jensen, Xavier Willison and Brendan Piakura. Pretty strong side from the Broncos. It's, again, as we said, pretty well unchanged so far.
The Broncos side itself looks pretty much the exact same, really. Same bench and all. Cows, a lot of difference. I think there's probably about 6 or 7 different players from last week.
We'll go through. We'll jump on the Cowboys team and have a quick squiz. They have made a couple changes just due to injury and whatnot, and obviously maybe a little bit of form and stuff. Toddy's brought back a couple of players, as we touched on before. Cowboys team lining up from fullback. We've got Scott Drinkwater, Drinky there at fullback as per usual. Robert Derby is our other change there, coming in on the wing due to injury. Now, he has had a couple games, I think, with us last year and possibly the year before, just due to injury or origin and stuff like that. So hopefully he can pick up solid form.
Had an awesome crack in the pre-season challenge.
In the trials? Yeah, you're right. Yeah, definitely. And I believe as well the Pacific Championships at the end of last year, I think he found a little bit of form as well, I'm pretty sure. Jackson Purdue at centre again, still getting a shot. I think Purdue's going to take a little while. It's going to be up in the air whether it's either his centre spot or Laybut's. We're not too sure just
Toddy
yet.
Seems to favour...
Believe in him?
Right, he seems to favour holding someone in once they get their spot in, sort of thing.
Yeah.
It wouldn't shock me if we're doing pretty bad, then Laybut probably comes back in and replaces him. Just for the fact that he comes back from injury and he's fresh. But there's no reason to bring him back even if he is okay. We want to get him completely good when he is good.
100%. And your other centre, or our other centre rather, being Vilami Valea again, the incumbent centre. Murray Talangi on the other wing, Tom Dearden at 5'8" as always, and the other change being Jake Clifford at halfback. We've seen Tom Duffy have a go for the first 2 rounds. Now it's Jake's turn to return. Whether or not this was Todd's plan from the get-go, we don't know. It might have been just give Jake a couple extra weeks to get ready before coming back into first grade. Who knows? It does sort of, from what we've seen, look like Duffy's been dropped due to our form, but just based on the fact Purdue's still there, I don't think that's the case. I think this is probably
Toddy's... It may not necessarily also be form, right? It could also be a case of just trying different things to see what works best for them.
Exactly right.
Clearly they need to try different things no matter what, so this will be an interesting experiment.
Yeah, I definitely think this was Toddy's plan all along. Clifford was always going to come back a couple rounds in because otherwise you'd see a few other changes. Like we're saying, Purdue wouldn't still have the spot. You wouldn't think that was the case. By all accounts, Duffy hasn't done too bad. He's done all right for a start in a whole side that's not doing too well.
But it's like no one was ready to sort of play with him. That's the thing. Like no one was sort of ready to sort of come on board with a lot of the stuff he was doing.
The whole team, man, even everything, even Dearden, passes going to the ground from Dearden. It's definitely not. All around. Yeah, definitely not on Duffy. I don't think it's the whole team's got bigger issues than that.
100%.
Forwards will move on to there. Jordan McLean at prop as always, the big draft horse. Reece Robson at hooker. Jason Tamalolo, the other change, coming back from the Liz Frank injury I think he got in the Pacific Championships last year. Yeah.
But then on top of that as well, he's not on the bench.
Yes, starting.
He's
starting prop. Interesting. It's a bit of a change up to the usual tactic.
Well, yeah, he probably spent all of last year,
pretty much,
tooth and nail that he's a bench player. So
pretty much all last year being an impact. Obviously, there is going to be some interchange. He will be changed out pretty quick, I would say, but looks like Toddy's trying to get the start, get off to a fast start with him with this one.
Who knows? We've also seen Jace doing a lot of cardio work over this offseason. So
yes, yeah.
Maybe he does have a longer stint.
Possibly.
Who knows?
A bit more stamina about him.
Yeah. Are we getting the 24 minutes, or are we getting something a bit more?
Yeah. Yep. So will be interesting. Hoping he can return to pick up that form he did have toward the end of last year. Second row spots, John Bateman and Kai O'Donnell again getting the nod of the starting side over Nanai, who has made his return to the side from the bench. So we'll see how Kai O'Donnell goes again. Didn't have a bad debut last week at all. Again, a side that was pretty all over the park in all sorts, so you can't really pin it to...
this again just feels like the lack of cohesion side of things.
Yeah.
I feel like Johnny Bateman has actually played probably one of the better ones on the field last week and the week prior. So,
yeah, definitely.
I'm glad I get to see John play again and see him play with some more seasoned players like Clifford or something and see what they can make of it. So.
Yep, definitely. And Cotter, Ruben Cotter at lock, good old trusty Cotter. Our interchange this week is a bit different. We've got Sam McIntyre wearing the 14 as opposed to Carl Wharton. Jeremiah Nanai in the 15, as we said, starting from the bench, so he'll get thrown in the interchange. Griffin Neem and Cohen Hess round out our bench.
And I have to say, I actually like the idea of having McIntyre at 14.
Yeah, He can ball play, or he can play a bit of hooker if need be in a pinch. Definitely.
But that's the thing. I mean, he's a fast body. He is quite fast for quite a large fella.
Yep.
It'll be interesting to see what sort of dynamic and what sort of difference he adds to really Reece Robson's game.
I do, or even that's it if Dearden gets a run, or anyone gets a run, whether he's there for a quick offload or something like that. Yeah, most definitely. I'm thinking it should be a good game. I'm hoping for a good game. Hoping we come out and have a fast start, or at least a decent start this week. That's what's been our undoing, I think, in the first two rounds. I mean, Manly got the jump and got the jump hard, and that really, really made it difficult for us. Sharks not so much, but we just didn't stay in the fight. We didn't grind out enough, I think. The defence was better, but still far from where it needs to be.
It also felt like a bit of a training run for them, let's be honest. They didn't really show too much. They just kind of had a bit of a go with it.
And they were, the Sharks, by all accounts, did not play very well either, which is not good signs for us talking on that or talking about that. But as always, it is always a good game. I am tipping the boys. I'm going to tip the Cows. Let's say 10 points, maybe 10-point margin in it. I think.
I think this will be a lot tighter than people think.
Yeah.
I think the $7 difference on Sportsbet.
Non-reflective of.
Not super reflective. I think we'll see a little bit of a different idea. The Broncos have a good chance of winning, for sure. But I think there'll be a little bit of a different put up on this one.
I agree. With that said, we do only have 5 minutes until kickoff, so we might leave it there, and we may come back with a bit of a post game segment, depending on result and how we go. But that's it for the moment for On the Field. Welcome back to another week, another season, another week in front of the camera here this time of Life at the Outpost. Not bringing you great news once again. We're still fighting to climb the ladder, to get off the bottom now, unfortunately. But with some form of light at the end of the tunnel, I'd say some sort of improvement, I guess. But yeah, a bit of a disappointing defeat against the Broncos, and then the Sharks the week prior up here at home, and then Broncos at Suncorp on the weekend. But yeah. That's all there is to say about it.
Yeah, we got done in. We got done in on that one. But I think there is silver lining at least.
Yeah.
You would have to say that this week here, we've definitely severely improved our form. But we went into a game against a team that is you'd probably argue top 4, maybe. You'd probably argue top 4.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think everyone would have probably have the Broncos in their a part of their top 8 at least for sure for this season.
Yeah. After what we've seen so
especially
far,
after what we've seen so far, for sure. I think for sure that everyone would have them in the top 8 there. Going up against a team that is potentially top 8 material, they actually, they pulled their socks up and had a proper go.
Yep.
Still had a bit of an issue on the whole, one bad thing happens and everyone gets down. Still a little bit of an issue there, but for the most part, I think that we defended significantly better. We combined significantly better with our attacking options.
Yep.
I think this is definitely probably the team to go forward, I would say.
Yep.
Maybe with a couple of injury changes. So obviously Lukey coming back in at some point soon.
Yeah.
I think Clifford is definitely the answer for sure as the 7. I'm not sold on Tom Duffy as a 7.
Not just yet, anyway.
I think he has a better chance of getting a better run if someone like Scotty Drinkwater were to go down as a 1. But I just don't think he provides what a 7 needs to provide, at least at an NRL level right now.
Yeah.
At the way that you look at all the top teams and their 7s. He's not providing what those guys provide, so unfortunately, I don't think that's really time for him yet.
Yeah.
Chester's another one you've still got there's still question marks over. Obviously, we're not going to see him this season for sure, but he's another one who could also easily have a go at 1 or 7 really, or even 6. But you're not going to get it off Tom for sure. Off Dearden. I just think that between Tom Dearden and between Jake Clifford, I think that's our halves pairing. That's the one going forward.
Yeah, we saw it go pretty strong toward the end of last season, definitely. I think in regards to Tom, just jumping back on Duffy, hard to really criticise him too much. He's only had the first 2 first-grade games, but yeah, definitely not ready for that full-time position at this spot. At that spot, rather, at the moment, it's pretty clear. And I mean, you'd have to think after those first 2 games, maybe he's probably taken away some stuff he needs to work on, you would hope, which it can only be a positive, you would think. It'll be the same as always, And
I mean, also with respect, sorry to interrupt as well, with full respect as well to the other teams, I mean, we've probably got one of the hardest runs, I guess, at the start.
Yeah, initially it is. Yeah, it is a tough one. Definitely, there's a few. I mean, we've got a couple home games, but a few away games against the bigger teams.
And it's definitely hard as a half to get to sort of squeeze blood out of a stone when you against some of these really top echelon teams.
In a scenario like that, yeah, you're right. Yeah, it'll be like every other half, or every other player. Really, it'll be come Origin time. You'll probably start to see Duffy get a bit more of a go, or fingers crossed it doesn't happen, but through injury and stuff like that. But obviously we'll see Tommy go away at Origin time as always, so that's when Duffy will get his shot again, and he'll only be better for it in the long run. Getting thrown into it now, we've seen it that many times before, Ilias at the Rabbitohs or even Dearden at the Broncos initially when he first started. And we're in a bad patch of form and in a bad spot, and they all of a sudden become the person to cop the blame for it. So it doesn't help their form or confidence at all. But
100%,
yeah, not a bad showing from him for what he's for his resume so far anyway at NRL level. But yeah, not what we need at the moment. And
I mean, right now he's got to come in. He's got to play against full strength teams.
Yeah.
Some of the likes of Nico Hines. People like Reece Walsh, people like Adam Reynolds. There's all these players he's got to sort of go up against.
Yeah.
And I'm not even really sure it's that conducive for learning. It's not even really that much of a learning environment at that point. But especially when you're going up against someone like Reno, seriously, the dude's been playing forever.
Yeah.
The dude, I feel like every game he's an injury away from, or like a tumble away from getting in a wheelchair or something.
Yeah.
Goodness me.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where you can't be expected to make just those sort of plays you need to beat those to outclass those other sort of counterparts.
Yeah.
So it's like you said, it is not on him 100%, but it's not what we need right now.
Yeah, and it should be. I mean, if he takes it the right way, it should be a learning for him, and he'll take away the things he needs to work on, like we were saying, and come back all the better for it. With that, we will go back to that Sharks game, which was the game coming up after the last time we spoke to you guys. 12 points to 36 ended up being quite a thumping in the end, but it was only toward the end of the game, I think, that it ended up really getting away. It was one where there seemed to be a bit of improvement on the week prior, where we were in the fight. It was only, again, I think a 10 or 12 point margin for a while.
I mean, let's be honest, I think the first half, it was still it was a very competitive game in the first half.
Yeah, definitely.
I think they came out in the second half.
Yep.
I think they let a 6 again go, and then they got penalised for something.
Okay.
And then it was just...
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, yep.
These ones.
Yeah, all over
heads
from
down.
there. Yep.
Arms on their side. Just.
Yep.
Tommy was at the back of the scrum yelling at everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was just
couldn't seem to get any sort of result or any sort of anything from them, unfortunately.
No cohesion, you know? Like, they sort of put their heads down and they sort of gave up a bit. And the score blew out as a result, absolutely. You know, people stopped defending properly. I mean, they didn't defend that great that game in the first place, but they really turned it up on the next week on defense. But this game in particular, you know, they let it go. They let it get the better of them, and then it just went bad to worse, that's all.
We did see, you know, Braden Burns get injured as well he got injured early in the game and he was carrying it the whole game, but toward the end of the game, I think he came off, didn't he? And that pushed...
I mean, I think everyone who was watching the game all thought instantly, he has broken ribs.
Yeah.
He copped that nasty tackle.
Line, basically,
And it took him like 2 plays to even get back to ruck. Like, he couldn't do it, but...
it was tough for him, definitely.
I think by the end of the game, he kept trying to play with it, and then he copped a hamstring as a result. So,
and that's what the big thing was, right? He ended up coming away with not just whatever happened there, but it was a hamstring injury, which is now seeing him sidelined for a little bit, unfortunately, which sucks because
really hurts.
He was probably one of the better ones for the first 2 games, I thought.
He was a win condition for really a lot of it. So losing Burns does hurt a lot.
Yep. The things I noticed with that game anyway, definitely after first round moving into that one, was just a lot of the same stuff in terms of balls going to ground, or like you said, lack of cohesion. Like it would look like they were about to set up for something. You know, the ball would go from Duffy out to Drinkwater, or to Dearden, and then to Drinkwater, and then it'd come out toward one of the centers or the winger, and
it's like shape would break down.
Yeah, shape would break down immensely. Like Purdue or whoever would be further ahead, they'd just be overrunning. They'd overrun it.
And suddenly you got like Bateman with the ball or some shit like.
Yeah, or that's right. Everyone's had to stop, and he's had to turn around and dive on it. So all those meters we just made, we basically just lost if we didn't knock the ball on or the ball didn't go out or something. So there was a lot of that still, which was a bit frustrating to watch. But again, something. I mean, obviously Val's not on that edge anymore, which we really miss, because he was someone that had that timing and whatnot, that ball carrying ability. He could tip the ball on as well. He was quite silky, and he had that strike power. But that's what happens when you've got someone, a junior, coming in. I mean, Purdue had a couple games last year, but he hasn't even had a full season, or even half a season at first grade level. So more time, similar to Duffy, more time, and
he's only going to get better and better.
He will pick that up, yeah, exactly, which we've seen even later in that game. I think he turned it around a bit in that game itself, the Sharks game. A lot of that, but then, like you said, a lot of heads down, and then goal line defense just non-existent. We can defend for maybe 2 or 3 sets, which you get 2 or 3 tackles in, and it's a 6 again. Another tackle or 2 in, 6 again. Another couple tackles, 6 again. Another couple tackles, 6 again, until eventually that's it. It's try goes over.
And that doesn't take very much when you're versing players like Stone Street, or versing players like Ramey and
Ero, exactly.
Kale
right.
Ero is having a stellar season so far as well. So
100%, yeah.
I think what was the post I saw recently? Kale Iron Man,
Yeah.
Iron Man. Like,
yeah. He's and I mean he come out of the blocks last year and did real well, but this year it's just
this year
he's
it's
improved
something.
tenfold.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's something different this year.
Yep. Yeah, there wasn't really a whole lot more to talk about on that game, unfortunately, and not positive anyway. I mean, Sharks weren't even really 100%. They were very off, which was a bit disappointing in the end to see it get away from the Cowboys.
I mean, look, first half, great set of footy. It could have gone either way. You could argue that game could have gone either way had nothing bad happened in that first part of the second half. But yeah, that string of penalties just. That I think they just got tilted.
Yep.
You know, penalties, injuries, they all sort of stacked up, got down on it, and they just gave it up.
Yeah,
so.
definitely did feel like that for sure.
Yeah. I mean, they had Ronnie sorted the entire game, and then all of a sudden, out of absolutely nowhere, he goes over in like the 60th minute or something like that. Like,
yeah.
You know, that's a lot of the challenge with the Sharks. You know, it's trying your best to keep Ronnie down and trying your best to keep Sam Stonestreet down as well, and that's the main management. And then all of a sudden, you've got Iro coming through your middle, and it's like,
yep. Which, talking about Purdue, I mean, having a bit of a turnaround or improvement, I think it was probably that second half. He scored that try halfway through the first half, but that second half, his defense improved well, but also his attack, it changed. It was like the mindset had changed a bit, which is what we want to see week in, week out from all of them.
And honestly, I mean, playing teams like the Sharks, Purdue will only improve from playing teams like them because they're teams that are very winger-centric.
Yeah, we even saw, I think, a Stonestreet runaway that he chased down almost very similar to Tommy on Cobbo last year. It was like a similar version to that tackle. So, yeah, hopefully we see more of that moving forward from the whole lot of them. I think that's probably about it. There's not too much more to touch on. As we said, we lost Burns due to injury, so he'll be out for a number of weeks, unfortunately. Moving on to this round 3 this weekend, just Beans game, the Derby against the Broncos down at Suncorp there, 26 points to 16 we ended up going down by. It felt like a 10-point margin for pretty much the whole game, really, until toward the end there when the Broncos ended up locking it up fully. I think Haas really put it away. We were in it until about that point, which was 71st minute.
And they still kept fighting though, which was good.
Yeah.
They still kept fighting. You know, Purdue going in pretty close to the end of the game there as well, which was good for everyone's multis, I'm sure.
Yeah.
but I think this game was more telltale about their defense than anything.
Yeah.
As a team.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes, they fixed their combinations. And they fixed their defense to an extent. Wasn't perfect, of course. It's not perfect, but I would say the defense had a significant change in attitude as well as intent this week.
Definitely better. You could see, that's right, you could see the improvement or the change at least, which is, I mean, not where you want to be. You don't want to be giving them participation awards for doing what they should be doing, but it's positive.
It's positive signs. Yeah,
definitely.
I'm very interested to see how this week goes against the Raiders, but you know, even players like Johnny Bateman who have had statistically shocking defense, even from like when he was at the Tigers. You know, I even thought that even he defended better, and you know, he was sort of standing up, rallying the troops and stuff like that. And that's what they need to be doing. They need to be taking these little wins every time and just rallying together and really just pushing themselves. Because at the end of the day, when you're having a situation where your team sort of is just putting their head down and giving up in games, you know, that's where you need players like Bateman and Tommy Dearden there to sort of go, come on, boys, we can still make something of this.
Set everyone straight,
We can sort of still get something positive out of this. So I mean, that's all you can really ask for from that side of things. I feel like a lot of people went into this game against the Broncos going, you know what, this is probably going to be a shellacking, and they made them work, and they made them work fucking hard for it, man.
Yep. Yeah, I really think it was definite improvement on the first 2 weeks. I mean, we said in the Sharks game that we'd seen some sort of improvement. Wasn't enough, but this is one where they've seemed to have improved on it once again. Positive signs, definitely, but still not where we want to be. I think Yeah. We've, again, a couple of positional changes. Robert Derby coming in on the wing for Burns there. He did all right. I don't think he did too bad. He did quite well.
I liked how he attacked more than anything.
Yeah,
his
definitely.
defense was a little bit.
Probably.
That's just from being a rookie, 100% being a rookie. But
probably need to utilise, that ability of having his size and ability, athletic ability now too, where Drinkwater, whoever, can just put a kick over the top of people's heads.
Well, I guess that's the other thing, the other criticism I had for Derby is that he didn't seem very confident, which is entirely, his first game back of proper
grade.
NRL.
Yeah.
I don't think it's his first game.
Broncos Cowboys Derby, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think that's his debut. I'm pretty sure.
No, he played a couple last year.
He played a couple last year. I'm pretty sure, but
definitely.
He definitely still had a fair bit of nerves about him. Like he wasn't confident enough to sort of contest the balls and stuff like that. When he starts doing that, teams got to watch out because he's quick, bro. He's quick. He's big.
Yep.
And I think when he starts doing that, he'll start running an absolute muck on people.
Definitely, yeah. We saw Neem go over for a try, I think, just after the kickoff for the second half.
He's stoked getting off the nudie run after last year, bro.
Straight up, yeah. Yep. Talangi as well. Talangi going over for a good one. I think Talangi had a couple bombed ones as well. One there where Walsh dropped the shoulder in for a try save. I think he might have bungled that one, or that might have been the one he got, actually, now that I think about it. But yeah, either way, and Purdue going in at the end there with that runaway try, which was really good. I think it was Nanai, obviously, the other two things being Nanai and Tamalolo back. We have missed it. We do need it. I think, though, moving forward, he probably needs to put Nanai. Peyton needs to put Nanai back in his spot. Let him do his thing. Put Kai O'Donnell on the bench. Whether he's sort of trying to break Kai O'Donnell in or season him, get him back into NRL fitness, because he hasn't had that for a number of years, and you can tell. And he will be better for it in the long run. Like, he's got that ability. He's, again, made some really big tackles, good defensive efforts and that there.
No, just feels a bit lost on that other side, man.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think he just. They probably need to put him back in his spot, and then have O'Donnell coming on off the bench, even if it is for a longer stint for whatever reason, just to try and build that stamina up. I think, you probably really want Nanai back on that right edge.
I'd agree with that 100%.
Yeah, like you're saying, he felt a bit lost or whatever. Yeah.
It didn't have the same impact at all.
Yeah.
I think it was still impactful of him being there in general, because it forced them to play a little bit differently.
Yeah.
It forced us in the Broncos to play a little bit differently against him.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm not really. I mean, it sounds like it was a disciplinary issue in the first place, but like, I don't think it was really that much of an issue. I really thought he didn't play that bad. It was
very circumstantial with him getting dropped. I think it was more he just kind of stood out and copped the brunt of it, like you're saying. Yeah.
Got made an example of.
Yeah, exactly.
I think realistically he just needs to keep his head down and actually focus up. But this game definitely showed that he is necessary. He needs to be on the field, but he needs to be in his spot.
Yeah,
he needs
definitely.
to be on his spot.
And hoping, team list tomorrow, hoping we see some sort of jink that way, and he does. And I don't know why Bateman can't go over the other side. I'm not too sure what the go with that is as such, but we will find out. We will see.
Bateman normally played left side for Tigers anyway, so I'm not really sure what the issue is.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not too sure what the thinking is. Tamalolo coming back as well, pretty positive. Again, another
Had a
one.
big game.
He's gonna, he did. He's going to have to build his match fitness back up because he hasn't played for a little bit due to that injury and whatnot.
He still put up, I think, about 40, 50 minutes, so that's
good effort.
That's a good effort considering he come back from. I mean, last year he had both wrist and ankle injuries. I think this was an ankle injury.
It's Frank or whatever it was.
Frank,
yeah.
So he's had a few issues, but I think this was a good first showing, and
definitely
looking forward to seeing what more he can build on that.
And starting too, which we'd seen him as an impact player come off the bench for most of last year.
Which is odd because we spent all our time saying he wasn't a starting player.
Yeah. Don't know, doesn't make sense. But either way, he did well and did his job good. And did it well. So possibly will start again this week. We'll see. But the more games he does, the better he's going to be for it in the end.
100%.
We'll have a quick look at this week, as we were talking about it, against the Raiders up here in Townsville. No team lists just yet, but I can't see them being too different from the Cowboys side of things anyway, right? if anything, like we just spoke about, you're hoping Nenai gets to go back to his spot, possibly O'Donnell to the bench, and then Bateman on the other side there, something like that. I think losing, that's one thing we didn't really touch on, losing... Who had to push out? We lost Valea. That's right. Sorry, Valea copped that accidental eye gouge, and that sort of ruined him. I know he went off and then he came back on later on.
The way that Toddy described it in the post match as well is that that's more serious than it sounds.
He had to go to hospital for it.
Yeah, he had to go to hospital. So we'll see if he's back this week or not.
Yeah. Outside of that, yeah, you're right. He'd come back. They'd obviously flushed it, and then he'd come back because he had blurred vision, and then he played a little bit longer, then had to come off again because he had blurred vision. So that's something that I think you're right. I don't think he's going to be back this week. We had to see McIntyre jump out over there. There were questions asked why Nenai didn't go there, but that being said as well, I mean, Todd did sort of touch on it. He said he didn't really feel it fair to bring Nenai back and then throw him into the centre, expect him to do a job there, whereas he did. I mean, McIntyre's not really a centre either, but he does have a lot of go about him. He's able to fill in, and he has filled in a lot of spots, and he did that a few times last year and did it well.
And he played his mind off.
Yeah,
for this game.
Yeah,
he did. He really did have a stellar game.
Yeah,
but by the 60th minute, he was just dead,
knackered.
He was dead.
Yeah.
There was a lifeless corpse walking around that field, man.
Unfortunate.
He had been battered, bruised, beaten. Ran out till he can't run anymore.
Yeah.
I can't agree with putting him in like that and making him do all that. It made no sense when we had the other players there to do it. It made no sense.
The bench really wasn't set up for it at all, man. Like it was either put Nenai there and risk him possibly having a shit go there and cop more blame, or I think circumstantially it was the right decision based on what's done before. But for McIntyre, how long he'd been playing, yeah, you're right. It didn't
fit. It wasn't good for him.
It didn't. Yeah, I wouldn't say personally it didn't fit. I would say possibly the strategy, the timing was bad. The timing was
awful.
he could have done something, or should have possibly even brought him back on the edge and then put someone else in the center just for a stint, just to give him a break. Because like you said, it rooted him, unfortunately. But
big time.
I mean, the bench just was not set up for that scenario to happen. We've got all those outside backs we've signed, but there wasn't one on there. Lawton being
reserve,
the one to drop out. Yeah, the reserve. He could have been very handy. I mean, he could have jumped into the center, or he could have gone to the edge as well. And then, you know what I mean?
Man, it's just strange.
But yeah, very, very, very bad scenario situation, I guess, for what the bench was set up. It just, when it happened and what happened, just wasn't good. Props to Vallejo for coming back out though to allow McIntyre to sort of push back in for a bit or have a break for a bit. But they just weren't ready for it. That's all there is to it. They just weren't ready for that to happen how it did. So I think it'll probably be a factor this week, possibly, with the bench spots in that. You would think he might.
I'm very interested to see how this game goes in the first place. I mean, Raiders statistically probably one of the worst teams in Townsville.
Yeah, definitely.
I think
not the best run.
They've got something like it's like a 20% win rate or something like that. Like of overall, like it's a 20% win rate overall against the Cows there.
Yeah.
So it's a tall order for him. And I think Ricky's made his own claims and his own opinions made about how he feels about that, but that's classic stick.
Yeah,
but
always got something to say.
Yep. But I think this we'll see have to see how this goes. I mean, who knows if Valet is actually going to be there or not as well.
Yeah.
But hopefully McIntyre doesn't have to play another game out like that. But and hopefully we can sort the bench out to make this a bit more dynamic. But I think in terms of the combination side of things, I'm very excited to see how they play against a bit of a tired Raiders outfit after this week. I think they're probably feeling.
Yeah, they're definitely going to have it given to them after what happened on the weekend. But you're right, coming up here, it always is a bit of a struggle for them. And 4:30 in the afternoon is not going to make it any easier.
No, not at all.
We might see someone like Paulo take his spot, Fala's spot, or something like that, or at least for the love of God, have Lawton on the bench or something, or someone on the bench, one of them on the bench or something like that. But we'll see. I think I'm going to tip the Cowboys on this one because I've liked what I've seen in terms of improvement. I haven't liked the results, but I've liked the week on, week out improvement. Improvement. So they are building towards something. And this, next couple of weeks, if they're going to get a solid win, I think this is going to be it, man. This is their best shot at it so far.
Yeah.
So
I know they've got Panthers coming up pretty shortly as well.
Yep.
Right before the bye.
We'll have a quick look because the bye is not far off. It is Panthers
Panthers next week, and
Yeah.
then the week after that is,
Must be
I want to
their
say,
bye.
is it Rabbits maybe?
No, it is Rabbitohs. You're right.
It is Rabbits, and then it's a bye.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
yeah. So I'm liking the odds against Bunnies. Although they'll actually know because that's round 6 where they get. they get Munro back, and
Should
they
have
also
some
get
Trips return. Yeah.
Ewan Aiken comes back too. So
Yep.
they'll
Yes.
have Troll back in round 5. They'll have Johnson back this week, so they'll have a very strong team by the time round 6 comes around. So that's going to be a pretty tough game, and they've got a pretty good record against us too down there at Bunnies.
Yep.
So
Yep. Yeah, definitely their best shot this week to get a win on the board before the bye. I think it's
100%.
pretty straightforward with that for them. So they want to really dig in this week, I think, and just try and turn that, get some sort of momentum. You know what I mean? Just
Momentum, yeah. 100%.
Because before you know it, you know what I mean. You go round 7, you only win is from the bye. Round 8, round 9, you're nearly halfway through the season. You're a long way. It's a long fight to get back to any sort of position on the ladder. So, I think we've got a good chance. I think this is probably our best chance so far, anyway, to put a win on the board and turn the form around, get some confidence or something like that.
Yeah, 100%.
It's probably about it to touch on for the last couple of weeks, and for next week's game, there isn't really any more Cowboys news. I don't think just yet. There hasn't.
Not yet.
Hasn't really been anything.
Hopefully no one gets injured in this Raiders game, that's for sure.
Yeah, touch
Good
wood.
Lord.
We can't afford it. We can't afford it.
Not right now, no.
No.
God, no.
As always, thanks for tuning in. If you've got any questions or anything, send them in to the Life at the Outpost podcast Instagram, or comment them on YouTube, or even send them into the Facebook and that. Until we return, we'll be talking about the Raiders, the result of the Raiders game and the Panthers game. Hopefully we can come back to you with some more positive news than those ones. We'll see you next time.